And wherever you are in the world watching, I hope you are okay. It's taken a little bit of a while in order for me to pull together the energy and confidence to come out with yet another live stream. And it's funny, being in April 2023. Sorry, I'm trying to put this phone down here, that's not working at all. Okay, so the title of this video is Thinking Out Loud. As you guys may know, I need to take some time between making these videos to actually spend some time thinking about what it is I want to talk about. Because I don't want to just come on the internet and just start speaking about a whole lot of random stuff. Like, I want to at least be able to agree with things it is that I'm saying. So I don't want to just speak for the sake of speaking. I want to make sure that, I don't know, it's just important to me that whatever I'm putting out there makes sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to me, I don't know how it's going to make sense to you. So, for those of you guys that may have been watching for quite a while, I've been on this journey. We've all been on this journey, I would say, all together. It's been one hell of a crazy ride. It's so funny. It's not showing me. Hey, Joseph Ferreira, good to see you. Good to see you too, brother. Hope you're keeping well. And thanks for the patience in regards to waiting for me to get the balls and confidence to come and make another live stream. I say get the balls and confidence because, I don't know, the last 3 years have done a number on me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's good to hear that you're okay, brother. The last 3 years, I think, have done a good number on everyone mentally. To be so totally, completely honest with you, and it's part of the reason why I'm making this video. I sit for days thinking about what it is I'm going to talk about. And sometimes I literally sit for days. And the reason I feel it's taking longer than usual lately is because, over the last year, I've had so many of my beliefs come into question, And I think everyone has. I think everyone on one level or another has had many parts of their own identity and their own beliefs being brought into question. And I think the whole world's doing that right now, which is kind of why I feel like we're in this identity politics issue. I think to myself, if we as beings never figure out who and what we are, where we've come from, and where we're going, we will continue to not have an identity. We will continue as humans on this earth to have an identity crisis. Like, think about it. If you don't know how, like, life's pretty crazy. I think about it all the time. I think about how crazy life is. The fact that I'm existing, you're existing, this time period, the history, everything you can find in the earth today, whether it's things or beliefs or whatever the case may be. Like, it's kind of weird, to be honest. Don't you find it weird? I don't know, I find reality so weird. Seriously. I think reality is the weirdest thing in the world. Like, what are we in 2023 right now? And half the shit that's happened, I would never have expected. To a degree, I did, but not in the way in which it's unfolding now. It's crazy to look at life and be like, what is this? What is the purpose of this? Because us humans, for the vast majority of humans, are walking around purposeless and without an identity. And that causes a lot of problems. Like, the way we're living life now, I think it just perplexes my mind continually, just thinking about the world, And what's happening in the world. The shit I can and can't speak about. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world, as you guys may or may not know. And it just blows my fucking mind. Every day, my mind is blown. I'm trying to fathom and make sense of everything, but trying to make sense of human behavior is really at times difficult. Like, no one would really expect there to be really evil people on the earth trying to fuck everyone over. No one would ever expect that, for the most part. Of course, some people would. I think they're smart enough to anticipate that within a world full of billions of people, that surely within that world there are people that do not have the best interests of others within their hearts. And a lot of those people happen to be in very powerful positions. And on this earth, the conspiracy rock, whatever it may be, we find many beliefs, tons of beliefs. No matter where you go around this earth, you're going to find all sorts of beliefs, all sorts of cultures, all sorts of traditions, all sorts of stories of people. And that's going to affect the sort of people you're going to get throughout the world. You know, because everyone has like a unique signature towards him. And that signature is comprised of that individual's memories and the energy that comes from those memories and how it is we relate to those memories within regards to our identity. You give off a unique signature. You know, some people give off very repetitive signatures, just carbon copies and cut and pastes. But for the most part, everyone has a unique energy. And that energy usually is a compromisation of the energies provided by each individual's memory energy construct, which is like your life and the construct of memories throughout your life, which carry a very interesting array of different energies that compromise and make up you and who you are and your identity. And the way I look at it is sometimes I'll be sitting and memories will just flash by my mind. And with those memories, like, I don't know what's happening now. It feels like my memory is more vivid than ever now, because memories from the past will come up when I'm thinking about life and life here on earth. Memories from the past will come up, but they'll be so visceral. And I'll feel them and I'll see them. I'll get like a feeling and a color and a tonality. And those energies play through. Now, the reason this is important and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I've noticed that when these memories flash through us, they remind us of like this dreamlike nature of reality. We're remembering scenes that don't exist now in this current moment, but in the past, within our memory, within the light construction of our mind and memory, we have these scenes of our life, and these scenes of our life are like themes of our life. You know, we go through different energies as we go through life. Some of those energies may be super dull. You may have memories in your mind that are like of super dull scenes. You know, flat, boring, no contrast, no vibrancy, just extremely dull scenes. And some of the memories I have are dull scenes of just random memories throughout my life of being in different scenes. And these scenes carry their own energy. And these energies are very visceral. And one thing I've noticed, that as you get older, or as you exist for longer, let me rather say that, instead of saying get older. But as you exist for longer, I guess you have as you exist for longer, the scenes and the moods and the tonalities and the themes of your life change. Because you evolve, your consciousness and your awareness evolves. So the way in which you experience each moment evolves and changes. Now, based on your happiness, that's either going to be quite dull or vibrant and promising and maybe even fantastical and whimsical. Who knows? It depends on how you're looking at the world, how you're looking at yourself, how you're looking at your life. Are you looking at your life through the lens of stagnancy and the past memories you have and the energies and the tones and tonalities that give you? And the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because, like, we live in pretty hectic times. And now more than ever, it's really important to find a way to keep your head on your shoulders. Because, I mean, this life we've been living has been pretty stressful as it has been. You know, when we started, I'm 31 years old. 31 years ago, since my earliest memories, I remember this life being stressful for myself and others. You know, like my family or whatever. And throughout my life, there's some of those scenes, those memories, those visceral energies, and some of them were beautiful in moments of serenity and nature, and some of them are like in a city, in some grim scene where it's just everything on the earth is reminding you of what it's like to be here on earth. Hope I'm explaining myself properly. I'm trying my best to explain what it is I'm trying to say. But basically what I'm saying is who we are and how we feel right now is based on the memories that we have and how we relate to those memories. You know, that's what makes us so unique. That's what makes me unique from any of you guys watching this. I have my own unique memories. You know, you have your own unique memories. And I have my own unique way in which I may relate to those memories, and so do you. And those memories, it's not only our memories, but it's also like our soul, our spirit, because our memories remind us of the past, and our soul and our spirit sort of reminds us of the future, you know? So you're sort of caught in between this collection of memories of the past and within your mind, your consciousness, your psychology, your spirit, what it is you're perceiving to take place. So I don't know what's happening here, to take place in the future. So what you may be perceiving to take place and your memories of your past recollections, those two combine in this present moment. And they create, I suppose, our energetic disposition, so how we feel right now. And it's important to talk about these things right now because the world's crazy and it's chaotic. And I think it's important for people like myself and people like yourselves to actually sit down and take time to talk, even if it's to yourself or preferably to other people, about, and of course it's not easy to find people to talk to about, you know, such deep-seated feelings and perspectives. But I'm going to do it anyway. I've got a little platform here. I've got you guys here watching. And I think it's important for us to talk about these things because the truth is like we have, you know, psychology and mental health, no matter how you want to look at it. Like you have a state of mind that you have to take care of and that you have to look after. And that state of mind usually depends on how much stress you have and anxiety that you have. And as I've been saying, the world we live in today, well, it presents a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. All these things that we're exposed to, whether it's through media, whether it's through the way in which we're expected to live and to get along and to survive and money and so forth and so on, we have relationships to all of these things. And that right now, as you know, it's pretty fucking stressful. Nobody really knows what the hell's going to happen on Earth, but I'm pretty sure everyone feels like something's going to happen because I feel that way, and the people I speak to, they happen to feel that way too. So that's something I've been noticing, and I wonder. It makes me wonder. So if you feel like you can feel something is going to happen or something is happening, please feel free to write it down in the comment section. So as I was saying, like, it's interesting how from when you're younger and when you get older, your consciousness and awareness becomes more visceral. At least that's my experience anyways. So, you know, those memories I was explaining earlier, like those dull, sometimes depressing memories, the way in which we change our relationship to them, I suppose, is by, in this present moment, being able to access new creative imaginings that can create sort of new memories. I don't want to call them memories or visions. We create a vision of life. And I believe that our life actually gets painted by the vision it is that we have of our life. So like your vision may have a certain tonality, a theme, a mood, you know, everyone's does, because so does your unique energetic signature. You have a certain particular potentially predominant mood you give off when people are around you. People may notice certain things about you, whatever the case may be. Anyway, the point is, it's interesting to see how at this age and growing older, your awareness increases, your consciousness increases, so reality becomes more visceral. At least I'm starting to notice that I'm paying more awareness and attention towards my internal and external surrounding environment. And as I'm doing this, these memories happen to pop up and give me like a second chance to look at some unfavorable circumstances in my past and the energies and the tones of those constructs that they bring from a new perspective, I suppose. It's like I'm being forced to deal with these past memories. And some of them are grim tonalities and themes of just, like weird memories they have that flashback and they just remind you of like some weird time in your life. And I'm pretty sure we all get those because the world we're living in, we've been born into a world that hasn't really it's given us a lot of education, but very little answers. And I feel like right now, more than ever, humans are walking around scratching their heads one way or another, trying to figure out what is going on, whether it be in their own life or life in general. I know myself, I wonder what's happening in my life, other people's lives, and life in general. Those are important things. We live on Earth, I live on Earth. This is my home, this is your home. As much as many people may not want to be here, and I can comprehend where it is that they're coming from, it is still your home. And I believe everyone is entitled to this home as much as anyone else is on this earth, because we're all born here. That's our number one unifying factor, the fact that we're all born on earth. This is all our home. Whether we like this home or we don't like this home, it's still our home. You live here, your family lives here, so this place is important to us, as much as people would like to disregard earth and life on earth, as easy as that may be to do because of how difficult and tough and uncertain life can seem to be, it's still our home. Like the animals in this world and everyone else in this world, they're all like your family. You're all my family, whether we get along or not. You're all my family. I mean, the animals are my family. The animal kingdom is my family. And I think because we don't have many answers here on earth and we're only expected to live like 70 years old or whatever if we're lucky, and we don't have all these answers about spirituality and stuff, which I believe are out there, like in the Bible and whatever. But as humans, we're walking around without having much answers, and we just think to ourselves, so we're just going to live here, and then screw it, like it's just my life that matters. Screw Earth, screw everyone on Earth. I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well just fucking do whatever and just get by. But I don't think that I don't think that's the right attitude. Like, no matter how you look at it, Earth's your home. Earth's your home. Even if you believe death is certain, and you're wondering to yourself, what the fuck are we doing here? What is the purpose of all of this? Earth is still your home. You still somehow, which is the miraculous part, which is your existence, you still somehow managed to be here today, existing today. If you're listening to this, you're existing, listening to this today. And don't you find that quite magical? Like, sure, Earth has its problems, and humans have their problems. And that kind of makes things a bit feel a bit unsettled, because you never know, because there's some crazy fucking humans out there. You never know what they can do. So it's a weird conundrum we're in. We're here, we exist. It's fucking miraculous that you exist if you think about it. Honestly, if you think about it, your unique individual body, man or woman, whoever may be watching this, the fact that you exist is a fucking miracle. Seriously. Out of everything that could ever happen in reality, you happen to be existing. It's got to mean something. It's got to be so profound. Sometimes in my life, like a lot of people do, we question things. We wonder, does our existence end after death? Even if you may have whatever beliefs you may have, sometimes you may wonder, is this all there is to it? We just born to die? And I know this is a bit of a harsh topic, but I believe it's a serious one. It's a real one that us as people need to speak about, because I believe it's a subconscious fear that may potentially plague a lot of people without them realizing it, because they don't want to admit it, because it's not something they want to face or look at. So it just goes unnoticed and undetected. But I know that if we can get rid of whatever fears we need to get rid of, we can lift off whatever weights we need to lift off of ourselves in order to allow ourselves some breathing room in this existence in which it is we're being granted. Because as you know, our existence can be torment, or it can be amazing, peaceful, progressive, or tumultuous, exhausting, fearful. And by the thoughts we feed ourselves, and whatever beliefs we pump into our mind, is determining, and what's going to determine how we feel. And how we feel is important. As we know now, our feelings are connected to our energy. It's got to mean something. I mean, you exist. What else do you have with your existence? You have the ability to feel, the ability to think, and the ability to make choices based on those feelings and thoughts. I don't know. I sometimes look at my existence and I think to myself, what a fucking miracle. What a miracle. And then I look at me being alive today and free, not dead or in jail, on this very day. After all the stuff I've been through in my life, and I just see a never-ending array of miracles. Sure, many of them didn't come in the way in which it is I expected it. And I still have my questions, but I see miracles around me all the time. I mean, as I've just explained now, I look at existence and I'm like, I'm this self-aware being that has the ability to think thoughts and imagine things and feel feelings based on what it is I'm thinking and imagining. That alone, the fact that I just merely exist and I'm a self-aware, conscious being that can make my own decisions and choices, blows my mind. Doesn't that blow your mind? Free will and existence, the two main gifts in which it is that humans have been given here on this earth. It's just quite terrible to see that throughout humanity, people have used that free will in order to take away the free will from others. So, we're at this time in history where I also think being born in this time period, in this exact historical frame of time, I think it's also miraculous. I think it's fucking miraculous. Like, shit on it's pretty bad. Let's be honest, crazy psychopaths run the world and are a danger to themselves and others. And evil does exist in reality and here on this earth. And sometimes the choices of a small few can affect the lives of the many. And throughout life here on earth, there's been an age-old tale of conquest and power, a desire for power and control. Where there are humans with free will and choices, there's usually dictators, whether in governments or actual dictatorships, who are there waiting to dictate to the many as to what it is they should do. Because where there's people to be controlled, there are people out there that will be there to control them. And that's been the age-old story here on earth. Because for whatever reason, the most ultimate sense of control people can get, mere mortals here, whether they're pharaohs or kings or dignitaries or oligarchs or, whatever. At the end of the day, sorry, just give me a sec. Let's not light the cigarette. At the end of the day, There have been people out there to get power. The number one way to get power in this world is to get power over people. Well, that's an age-old desire. You have to think about what I'm saying. What I've just mentioned is not only an age-old theme that we find here in reality throughout our history, but also an age-old desire that conquerors and men in the past have had. And you got to look at it like within their own consciousness, they've found a requirement in order to exert power over others, no matter what the cost. I kind of look at it as humans trying to play God, because the only one that should ever and can be in control of all humans and such. Hey, Uncle Seds, how you doing? And such variability is God. God is the creator of this universe, no matter how you look at that. And it's silly for us to assume that we can see everything there is in existence right here, right now. We can't. We definitely can't. We know the human eye can only perceive not even 0.5% of the visible light spectrum. And we know that the spectrums of light create reality and affect reality. So we know there's so much we're not seeing. Like at our current level of awareness and consciousness as being a human being with our emotional afflictions that we may have, we're only at a certain level of consciousness and awareness and experience through that conscious awareness. What I'm saying is we've only experienced only a fraction of the emotions and the energies that are there to be experienced, because all the energies and emotions in which it is that we're used to have been crafted and created by Earth's history, Earth's story, Earth's current framework and system, its order and the way in which it's currently operating, the ideologies and thoughts of people across the earth, the art and the media in which it is that they happen to create every single idea that you could ever be exposed to. Now think about it like this. Our current state of where we're at right now in human evolution is dependent upon all the information which it is we've been exposed to from the past and our present. So that has a bandwidth. It kind of makes information seem dull when you start to look at it this way, because we start to begin to see that all information that's currently available in this current moment in time has its own limitation, its own bandwidth that it cannot surpass within human consciousness and awareness and imagination, because our consciousness and imagination is only evolved to where it is now currently, not to where it will be evolved at a later date on a continuing basis. So what I'm basically saying is that us as humans, we haven't even begun to experience the future in our minds yet. Some people are trying to. They're trying to do that quite hard. They're trying to imagine the future through the lens of robotics and artificial intelligence, which I don't agree with at all. Because humans haven't even begun to learn about their own consciousness or master their own consciousness as people and as species. And here we're going trying to attempt creating sentience within technological so-called life forms, which is a very dangerous thing to do. And I don't think humans are going to have much luck in doing it as well as they would like to, because the level of technological development will depend upon the human's level of comprehension towards our own consciousness. Like neurologists will admit they only know about 20% of the human brain. I think it's less. I think it's only like 10%. So we really know nothing about a lot of things. But this whole world presents itself as though it knows a lot about everything. But when you start digging into things, you start finding actually we don't know a lot of shit about a lot of stuff. But it's this world of science, this world of everything. It's presenting things as like empirical, unending facts. Yet throughout time, each new discovery has been found out to be a fraud, one after the other, as we find new information about our existence, about our reality, and everything begins to come back into question. So us as a human species, we've barely even begun to actually explore our emotional and consciousness capability, because all of our reality is experienced through our conscious awareness. As we're able to evolve and develop our states of consciousness awareness, therefore evolving and developing our character, as well as the patterns of our existence, the patterns of energy that move through our mind, that move through our brain, that move through our life, that move through our reality. As I said, you are a unique signature being, and that's dependent upon the patterns of memories and experiences that have taken place within your life. You know, certain memories in your past may create certain choices and actions that may take place in your present now. And your past somehow then begins to become entangled with your present and your future. So I used to argue destiny and predetermination with people. They would say, oh, I don't believe in destiny or predetermination. I believe we have free will and we make the choices and we land up where we're going to land up. I agree with that, but to a certain extent. Because look at it this way. You now watching this, you have your own memories, your own beliefs, your own life story. You're at your own state of consciousness. And, sorry, where was I going with this? You have your own unique energy, your own unique story. It makes up the energy of who you are now and how you experience yourself now, how you experience others now, others experience you now. Now, what I'm proposing and what I'm saying is that we are on the brink and precipice of exploring our own consciousness. Because what I know within consciousness is it has no boundaries. Within our consciousness, there is no limitation. So therefore, it's an amazing thing to reference all of reality off of, because then we start to look at reality through the lens of consciousness, which is the lens of no limitation in reality. Because in your mind, with your imagination, which is also a miracle, you don't only exist, but you actually have the ability to have an imagination. You can imagine things, which is also a huge miracle. You can imagine memories, entire realities, energies, tones, moods, whatever it is your heart desires, you imagine. And as we begin to explore our imagination, we begin to explore our own different, varying, and evolving states of consciousness within inside of ourselves. Because when your mind changes, when your imagination changes, the things you focus on and think about changes, so therefore your mood, your energy, your emotions begin to change. So if we can use our imagination to look forward into a future that agrees with our heart, a future of peace, prosperity, longevity, happiness, unity, excitement, fun, joy. We can use our minds in order to visualize and imagine these realities. And as we begin to imagine these new, never before seen realities within inside of ourselves, we create those energies and emotions with inside of ourselves, new energies. And these new energies begin to take place over your older memories that may weigh you down. Because if all you ever remember is just pain and suffering throughout your life and you haven't really gotten over that, and those memories are still playing back, and you just remember life being one stuck, stagnant thing that never ever changes, and the mood hasn't even changed over all of these years, you won't be in the energy, receiving future energy. In order to be in a receiving future energy, we must dare to imagine realities in which it is that our heart desires, that our hearts truly desire. Wow, that's weird. Internet was like bugging out. That's so weird, sorry. So weird. Just as I'm getting somewhere, this thing cuts out. Sorry about that. So what I'm saying is, I think we've overlooked our consciousness and imagination. I think we've been so busy looking at this external world and all the physicality and materialism in it that we have become dumb. Not dumb, but like mute towards these energies and these realities within us. Like your emotions and your imagination are your most amazing thing you have. It has the ability to transport your awareness and consciousness to imaginings in which it is that you wish to imagine and experience. So I think it's very important for us to pay very close attention to our awareness and our consciousness, especially in these times in which it is that we happen to be in. Because these times that we happen to be in can be very stressful and can get the better of you. But it's up to us to use our own consciousness to escape this horrible feeling that there's no progression or meaning in life. There is meaning. And no matter what may be happening in this world, it's up to us to reimagine it just within your mind, just so that you can begin to access those new future energies. And I believe that's what will be required in order for people to be successful within their own minds, their own psychology, their own energy, their own spirit. Our number one goal is to eliminate pain and suffering within ourselves and within others. But we first have to do it within ourselves. You first have to learn how to free and liberate your mind and not get trapped by the energies and memories of your past. And don't look at those memories and energies in a bad light either, because that'll just get you wrapped up in them again. Our objective is to evolve beyond what energies have been presented to us through our past memories. And as we begin to do that, we'll begin to change our relationship towards these past energies, therefore changing our energetic construct. You are a memory energy construct. You are a compromisation of memories and energies. And that makes up your current unique signature and energy right now. That energy affects your health, it affects the relationships in your life, it affects everything within your life. So, no matter what it is that life may present, it's absolutely important for us to continue to pay attention to the deepness within inside of ourselves. We are deep beings. Within us, there is eternal internal space of consciousness and awareness, and it permeates and foliates through us, throughout all reality, as we're all existing within one reality, but within our own unique individual experiences. So what I can hope for others to do is to use this message to see that no matter what it is that life may present you, you have an imagination and you have your consciousness and your heart and your spirit. And let your heart guide your imagination. Let your heart guide your consciousness and spirit into imagining new future realities in which it is that provide emotions and energies in which it is that you've never or we've never experienced before. This is how we begin to create the future, through creating new energies of emotions and energies within us, through our imagination, through our visualization, through our faith and through our beliefs. We are recreating our energetic field by not allowing past memory constructs to leave our being in a fixed, unchanging state. We are always changing. In fact, change is one of the things that make us who it is we are. Because every day we're changing how we look at things, how we feel about things, what we believe, what we focus on, and what we experience thanks to what it is we focus on. Because whatever you focus on is what you drive into. So remember that. I hope that these words can give you hope, to let you know that God has not only given you the miracle of existence and free will, but the miracle of your imagination and the miracle of your being and your energy that you can use to tap into these higher, divine, heavenly, futuristic energies. I hate to use the word futuristic because when people say futuristic, they're going to think of robots and all this shit. I don't think about that. I think we are the most advanced intelligence. I mean, we're not robots, but I mean, this is the most ultimate machine you get. And we haven't even barely begun to explore or understand it because we have too many unanswered questions. There's so much of reality in which it is that we don't happen to see. So it causes us to focus on what's there in front of us. and not what's inside of us. And I know through my experience in my life, by focusing on what's inside of me, has managed to guide me into where it is I need to be, into safety, into security, into stability, into clarity. And now more than ever, these things are very serious and important things, these virtues and these values, because they will determine the well-being of your own existence. You know, so in a strange way, it feels like we're learning. This kind of is a school, although I don't believe a lot of the stuff that people explain that comes along with that. But nonetheless, we are conscious, aware beings. And as long as we continue to be conscious and aware and have free will, we will always be changing. The question is, what do you want to change into? You know? And what you're changing into is, and that basically means, what do you want to feel? What do you want to believe? What do you want to imagine? Some might listen to this and might think, well, that just sounds too fantastical for me. Airy fairy in the air and all. But I've learned throughout my reality that reality is far more mystical than what it is we've been told. And potentially far more supernatural than what it is we're prepared to believe. And I think that there's many distractions here on earth to get us to feel fear, worry, whether it be about this current moment now or our future. And I suppose it's only natural to be concerned about those things and to feel those feelings. But we have to transcend and evolve beyond that. Transcend and evolve beyond what it is that we can see, touch, taste with our five senses. What it is that people are presenting to us in this world, saying this is the way it is, this is the way it's got to go. And us just believing that because we're just trusting in our five senses. But anyone who's intuitive enough and spiritual enough can feel, close enough to God, can feel that there's so much more yet to be discovered. We have not even begun to discover what it means to be human or conscious or existing. And the reason I ask for that is because the framework in which Earth has been running itself off the system of oppression and the control of thought and beliefs, and through the lens of insecurities that humans have had for so long. Why is it that emperors felt the need to acquire so much power back in the past? They must have had some sort of insecurity within their own ego. There's nothing I've achieved in my life that I didn't think about, dream about, and imagine. Absolutely right. You know, the human condition is a condition of insecurity. A lot of people would not like to admit that. But even the most powerful people that present themselves to you on whatever platforms it may be in these days, they themselves have found themselves in those positions because of their own insecurities, whether they want to admit it or not. Humans are quite fallible, and it's our emotions that make us so weak. Even the ones who claim to have no emotions are the ones that get the most emotional, whether that emotion is anger or grief, or resentment, jealousy, or frustration. People feel things in private. We live in a world where everyone's not only been given all those gifts I told you, but you've also been given the gift of privacy within your own mind. The only issue is that people misuse that privacy within their own mind, and they think that they can present themselves differently to what it is that they are thinking within their own mind. And what you see will not be what you get. All talk, no action. So we live in this world where we've been given so many gifts. Yes, the conditions are not great. Yes, we have people starving. Yes, they're destroying the natural world and nature. And they're doing all these things. But amongst all of it exists you. And as you exist, you have consciousness and awareness, imagination, creativity, and not only that, but privacy in your own mind. But just because you have privacy within your own thoughts does not mean you must use those thoughts recklessly towards others. And that's why I believe the gospel of Jesus was so important, because he knew that the nature of thoughts in reality. he knew that no other human may be able to hold you accountable for your thoughts, but God most certainly will. And your own life will. Because if you sit around having negative thoughts about people in secret, it begins to affect your own energy, your own mind, your own consciousness. It starts to spoil everything and destroy anything good within you. So if we are supposed to proceed effectively within this earth, we must develop a more transparent earth, more transparent people. And that transparency must exist within their own hearts. They must have, when they look at their own hearts and their own selves, they must look at it through a lens of transparency so that they can be honest with themselves in order to learn how to be honest with others. And the more people start to begin to learn to say what's on their mind as opposed to hiding it and maybe harboring some vengeful thoughts or thoughts of animosity, people can begin to learn to be more open, be more clear, be more communicable. I think in this earth, most people's fear is being exposed some way or another. And that fear comes from all the time we're in school, being in primary school and high school, where we've got those fears inbuilt into us to not embarrass yourself, to not make a fool of yourself. So it stays with us, it stays with humanity. Everyone's too scared to be themselves because they're too worried about making a fool of themselves. So instead they live in a secret world within their own mind. And we're all quietly thinking in our own heads, and within our hearts, we're just dying to express ourselves. We're just dying to be able to express ourselves and to be heard and to hear others and to connect in those ways. And our world has been very bleak and very grim and all about the money, the business, and the power. And that's created sour, sad people across all of earth that are willing to sell out others for money. Money begins to become the ruling force, and people begin to live these fake lives within themselves that somehow bring them comfort and satisfaction. Yet within their hearts, they really do wish to just be able to be transparent and truthful and honest with how they feel, but instead have been conditioned throughout time in order to suppress that as much as possible. So most people grow up not knowing anything about themselves because they'd never learned to express themselves. And when you express yourself, you actually begin to learn more about yourself. That's what's so beautiful about expression. It doesn't only heal emotions and helps you process energies and emotions within your memories, but it also helps you see yourself in a new light, experience yourself in a new light. Like the more you learn to express yourself, and it could be in any way, even to yourself, it doesn't have to be to others, the more you begin to start to see more dimensions and angles of your own being and existence, the more you start to learn about yourself. And when you begin to start learning about yourself, you may learn, wow, I know nothing about myself. Like, yeah, sure, I may think I'm human, and I may think this, and I may think that, and I may think that, but I can't help but think that there's so much left for us to explore. There's a passage in the Bible where a king speaks about how there's nothing new under the sun, and how each generation comes after another and no one remembers him, and then do they perish away. I have to disagree with him. I would say that we are at the frontier of human consciousness, those of us that are willing and seeking. And I would say that we are forging a new path of awareness, an imaginative, expectation-based reality within our own mind, in our own faith, in our own beliefs. There are many things this earth has never seen before. And I suppose it's up to us to imagine it and to somehow bring it into existence. I can't help but try to figure out how to do that, but through spirituality, through the connection to God, the connection to the unseen, the realms of existence that exist beyond our perception and current comprehension. You know, when you live life, a lot of people may go through it thinking that it's meaningless and not being able to make sense of any of it. But I find that the more faith you develop and the more deeply you start looking at your life and the more dots you start connecting and the more patterns in which it is that you happen to see, I find we begin to start seeing meaning in everything. Like, you know, throughout my life, I feel like a child learning from scratch. Yeah, I also feel like a child learning from scratch. And that's why I'm making this video. I feel like we've all been taught and indoctrinated to believe what the world believes. And that's always had its own amount of limitations on our own consciousness and our own awareness and our own life. And now it's like we're at this weird point in history where we're fucking breaking through that with as much opposition as there may be. And this is why everyone, I believe, is trying to hold on to fucking control. Everyone, they're trying to hold on to control. Because everyone's so fucking scared of change. So they're trying to control the change. How do you control the change in a reality full of infinite variables? In a moment in history which has never been seen before. In a time and narrative which has never been experienced before. How do you do that? When there's so many more variables than there's ever been before in the human mind, in our actions, that boils down to our actions, our choices, our decisions. When there's so many variables, how do you manage the change? You can't. No matter how much WHO or whoever wants to manage this change, it's going to be very difficult. Because now we're at the point where all of our energies on an individual and collective level are pushing through this illusion, this presentation we've been given since we've gotten here, since we were born. And we're seeing through all of it. It's like, as you just said, seeing life for the first time through fresh new eyes and looking at everything and everything coming into question. Values, virtues, morals, behaviors, our behaviors, others, culture, everything. God, existence, life, death. And it's all come into question for everyone on one level or another. Some people may be more aware or less aware, but the point is that things are changing, humans are changing, the minds of man is changing. And as much as people try to control that and manage that, it's going to prove to be impossible. How do you manage an explosion of consciousness and awareness? Like, how do you do that? What that explosion does is it introduces so many variables that have never been seen before. This is why time feels like it's speeding up faster than ever. Because so much is happening all the time. And because so much is happening, it's very eventful, so the time goes quicker, speeds by. And I can't help but feel like humans are scrambling around. Just trying to continue this lie. This lie that people on earth have been living for so long. That the way in which life is normal. It's not fucking normal. There's nothing normal about this. There's nothing normal about oppression, about a lack of freedom. But a small amount of fucking idiots that want to control the fucking behaviors and decisions of everyone else. There's nothing normal about that. There's nothing free about that. We're never going to explore and discover our own being and our own existence under these conditions. It's never going to happen. And everything that life has presented up until now is proving to be tasteless. in the minds of many. People are losing satisfaction for their life towards the things in which it was that once satisfied them, that no longer happen to satisfy them anymore. People need truth, they need answer, they need awareness. As long as they don't get those, they'll never have a formulated identity. Their identity will be formulated upon their culture, their upbringing, and society, and whatever time in which it is that they happen to be in. But sometimes scary. It's exciting, amazing, and intriguing. Every day is a discovery. Absolutely. Every day we are discovering our own thoughts, our own consciousness, our own awareness, our own beliefs. And as we're doing that, we're exploring energies. Each consciousness state provides its own energetic state in which it is that you'll happen to experience. So it's our job to get out of these sticky, gunky, old, unfruitful energies of the past that weigh us down and get us to not believe in magic and fantasy and miracles and infinite potential and eternity. These are higher mind thoughts. Because when your limbic system shuts down and you're in a stressful state, you will never ever be able to grasp the concept of eternity, ever. I was thinking the other day, to myself, fear prevents us from connecting to God, and connecting to God prevents us from feeling fear. How's that for a paradox? I'll say it one more time. Fear prevents us from connecting to God because we're fearful. We're like, oh no, that can't exist, blah, blah, blah. I've got so much shit happening in my life. I need to focus on all of this stuff. You're focusing on everything but God because all your fears have your focus everywhere but God. But the irony is that focusing on God gets rid of your fears. How's that for irony? And that's what we're doing here. We're getting rid of fears. We're programming fears out of ourselves. From the moment you're born, you've been programmed to fear many things. You've been programmed to fear so much shit. You have no fucking idea. And that's prevented every human from being able to feel comfortable enough to express themselves. So everyone's walking around within the secret world within their head, dying to express themselves, whether they're aware of that or not. Because they're feeling on one level or another, I'm living a lie. I don't feel like I can comfortably express myself without fear of judgment or some sort of persecution or whatever the case may be. So in that way, we haven't explored human consciousness. We haven't explored the evolution of civilization in that direction, where humans begin to drop their God. Humans are still holding on to a God quite tightly. And this is part of this change that's happening now that people don't want to let go of, because this change involves becoming more transparent and letting go of whatever illusion or persona people have built around themselves, which is supporting a fake life. Supporting a fake life that will just perish. The foundation is not set. How can humans even begin to have an identity when we haven't even been able to come to terms with the origination of our existence? But I find that looking in the direction of God, we can begin to find those answers within ourselves and around us. I'm beginning to learn that the answers you're looking for, you're not going to find on YouTube. You're not going to find in TikTok. You're not going to find in the book. You're not going to find in the movie. The answers you're looking for, you're going to find within yourself. That's the only place. And you may have many answers you don't even know you have yet. Many questions that you don't even know you have yet. But those answers to those questions are the remedy towards a lot of the confusion and weird feelings and energies we happen to go through. When we can begin to explore more than what we've been told is possible, more than what we've been told exists, that's the only point when we will start to experience what it is that we begin to newly focus our attention and awareness on, and through our imagination create these realities or open the way for them. Because Earth may exist in a certain bandwidth, but you have to remember that within existence, everything exists. Right? And that means that the highest level of order and divinity within consciousness and reality exists simultaneous to the chaos and destruction here on Earth. Although we may look around and we may see a very scarce, hostile world, there's frequencies and energies and realities above this that exist so high within consciousness that it naturally pertains to a divine order. And just because we haven't experienced it, haven't become aware of that within our imagination, within our energies, within our emotions, it's not real to us. It only feels real if you feel it, but you only feel it when you imagine it. That's why it says, first seek thy kingdom of heaven, my child. Only then can you begin to use such a beautiful gateway to access such high levels of reality / consciousness. Because once you go in high levels of reality, you're going up in high levels of consciousness. Right now on Earth, currently, humans are only at a certain level of consciousness and awareness. And it's mostly impaired by the stress and the anxiety and the fear. Fears that people have been indoctrinated to believe in since you were born. You've had fears coded into your programming. And most of it we're not even aware of. It affects our behavior, but we don't really question and ask, why are we behaving that way? And then when we begin to ask that, we begin to see, well, oh shit, actually it's because of some fears I may have. Our fears get in the way of so many things. Expressing ourselves, speaking our mind, connecting, putting ourselves out there, believing and having hope, and believing in things that people wouldn't dare believe in, whether that's eternity or heaven or an everlasting kingdom in God. You see how these are such higher frequency thoughts? If your limbic system is shutting down and you're in stress, fight to flight, you will not be able to have such high level thoughts. You won't. Like, you have to think to yourself, the thought of eternity is a high level thought. Eternity, purity, these are high level consciousness thoughts. Because it's what we're all striving towards. It's why we all exist. It's why we're all moving towards in a direction. Most people feel so hopeless in their lives because they believe their life ends when they die or whatever, or that they have to die or whatever the case may be. And so they think to themselves that, what's the point? Like, you know, all this work I may be doing in myself, my spirit, my character, what is the point of all of it? Because we don't think of infinite progression. And a concept like eternity may introduce into your mind a concept like infinite progression. We're infinitely progressing in order to experience more peace, more joy, more happiness. So, we're evolving in consciousness and awareness. And as we're evolving in consciousness and awareness, our experience of reality is evolving too. And when we do this, this is how we free ourselves. We free ourselves by accessing higher realities, higher imaginings, accessing those energies, tuning them into our energy field, into our consciousness, our psychology, our neural pathways, into our behavioral patterns. We begin to replace all this negative, fearful shit that's getting us to feel anxious most of the time. You know? And we have to replace all that shit, that energy, that vibe, that tonality, that theme, those memories, with way higher energies, way higher conceptual imaginings. And therefore, as we're able to do that, we're able to uplift our energy, reprogramming the fear out of us. The only way you're going to free yourself and feel lighter and feel that weight of the world pull off of you is by prioritizing your consciousness development and your ability to tap into way higher feelings than you've ever been able to tap into before. Why do I know God exists? Because when I practice attempting to do this, I've never experienced such high energies than through connect and experiences, supernatural experiences, than connecting to God. God is like this lifeline. Because as a human, I only have a certain amount of awareness, a certain amount of consciousness. I'm exploring, I'm meditating, I'm becoming so much more aware of my direct moment-to-moment surrounding environment. Developing more resilience within my energy, more resilience within my emotions. But the way in which I'm doing that is through faith in God. I'm not going to lie to you. The way in which I have personally been accomplishing such high level awareness and consciousness through such promising energies that are provided with the promise that God has for us in our lives. Those energies change everything. They change your mood, your vibration, your body, the pain in your body, the resistance, the resilience, your emotions, the memories that may play throughout your head, the new patterns in which it is that begin to emerge within your own behavior. So, in all my consciousness exploration, I will tell you this, and I will admit it, that focusing on something as so high as God, which is very hard for many people to believe in, has allowed me to experience realities and energies in which it is that I've never seen referenced here on earth other than in the Bible. Energies and imaginings of realities and experiences of realities within inside of myself. It seems so much more higher than anything I've ever experienced. Your body's light. Your mind's light. There's no stress. There's no tension. There's no negative thought. There's no worry. Can you imagine that? Feeling absolutely, totally free and all that heavy gunk of stress and anxiety just falling off of you, and you knowing no matter what, you will be okay. Which is part of the reason why you feel so free. You feel the weights of everything drop off you because now you're learning to develop faith. Faith is what I'm basically describing. People practice faith all the time, whether they're aware of it or not. They're usually just faithful in something bad happening, causing the stress, tension, and anxiety to occur. And because they don't believe in God, they don't believe they have a reason to believe that there's some magical force within their life that can give them a reason to relax. So they feel more tension, they feel more anxiety, more loneliness, more depression, more angst. But we want to feel free. We want to feel light. You want to evolve? Well, we need to be able to evolve our consciousness experience. We need to evolve the way in which we are consciously experiencing each day to day. How do you do that? Reprogramming your energy. How do you do that? Tuning into higher energies in which it is you've never tuned into before, which you've never even imagined before, which will open up new gateways of experience to more experiences that you've never experienced before, that are of such a high, freeing and liberating state, where everything is just light. You are lighter, life is lighter. There's no tension, there's no heaviness. Can you imagine that? Your mind begins to work properly, your body begins to work properly. As you're able to do this, you're able to stay healthy without needing any medication, without needing anything. You're able to stay healthy. It's all about energy. If you feel a certain pain within your body, notice the energy associated towards it. You'll notice there's an energy pushing towards your body part that's experiencing that pain. And then consciously feel that energy and imagine it away. And then you'll begin to see, holy crap, it's all energy. It's literally all energy. So, you're mortal, admit it. Admit it to yourself, humble yourself towards the fact that you are mortal. Because if you don't do that, you're never going to humble yourself enough to connect to God. And if you don't connect to God, you're never going to experience these super high energies I'm speaking about. And they will not come into your life. And you will not experience the benefits of them. When we're evolving in this consciousness and this awareness, the energies that we're introducing into our body, into our life, into our vibration are healing us, lightening us. The heaviness of our existence is going away. Our existence becomes less and less burdensome. And as we're able to feel free in our mind, feel free in our body, and feel free in our lives, that opens a whole new gateway of opportunity within our experiences. I'm personally going to tell you now, I believe in miracles, I believe in magic. Oh, I believe in miracles and I believe in magic, and I most certainly believe in God. There's no way in which it is that I can explain how it is that I'm still alive today and my family and everyone's still safe and secure. When I pray to God for whatever I pray to God for, I get it. If I pray for clarity, if I pray for certain memories to be healed, whatever it is, I get creative, I talk to God, I have fun with it. And God never lets me down. Doesn't let me down. at all. So we may not completely comprehend or understand God, but if you spend time speaking to God and working with God, you will have no choice but to believe in His existence. But you'll never know until you find out. I suppose that's why they call it the Testament, right? It was a test of our free will. It's an incredible test. Reality is one hell of a test, is it not? I mean, every single day we're faced with new choices, new decisions, immorality or goodness. Every day is a test. Every second's a test. Every thought you have is a test. Every action you make is a test. And you're testing yourself, and so is God testing you to see what it is, who you are. Because you can only truly find out who you are when life puts you into a situation where you have no choice but to find out who you are. Let's just pray and hope many people don't have to experience that, and that it can happen in a polite manner. So I see Earth now. Everyone's holding on for dear life. They are so terrified of change. Even the rulers, the self-proclaimed rulers, masters of the universe, are trying everything in their ability and their arsenal to hold on to control. That's why they're like, oh, we want to create AI and we want to fucking biotechnology and all this shit. It's them clutching on straws. Because like everyone feels this energy of change, yo. So even the fucking elite or whoever, they're gonna everyone on every single level is gonna grasp at straws for things to stay the way they are. But we're not in the era of things staying the same. We're in the era of everything changing. And that's what's happening now on Earth. And it just so happens that the way in which it's happening is very ugly and it's very nasty. And we don't really want to speak too much about that on here. But what can we do other than ensure our own change? Ensure we can evolve our consciousness and make each and every single moment and thought matter within our own minds. Because it all adds up. And if you only believe that you exist to die, you'll never believe in an infinite progression of your own soul. Think about what I've just described. Infinite progression of a soul. That's a very divine thought. That's a very high level thought. And how do you know it's a high level thought? It comes with a very high feeling of like fucking serenity, eternity, calmness, peace. That's how you know. You want to navigate reality? Start navigating your emotions and your feelings. Those are energies. We're living in an energetic universe. Start becoming aware of your emotions, your energies. And I will explain this to you. Sometimes we feel what we feel. And sometimes it's hard to be consistent with how we're feeling. Sometimes we get upset. But try this. Pray to God and ask Him to help you with your emotions. See what happens. Trust me, there will never be a time where you'll pray to God and regret it. It costs you nothing. And as mortals here, we must humble ourselves to the fact that we are not exposed to all the realms and dimensions that exist. And that you have to look around and say to yourself that there's just no coincidence we're all here right now. I mean, the strangeness of it all, the interconnected nature of it all, the extremely coincidental nature of it all. Everything coincides with everything. One way or another, truth or fallacy. So, yeah, it's important for us to connect to God. Connecting to a mortal is not going to help you. You're never going to be able to experience any realm of consciousness that such a high level that God will provide you. You can prove that to yourself. Meditate on that, and then meditate on God. And those who search find. And I'm telling you now more than ever, everyone's going to need God in their life. Because there's going to be more tests. And in order for us to stay strong. Amazing, Marina. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you soon. Thank you. So that's what I'm doing. I'm meditating. I'm exploring my spirit, exploring these feelings of energies in and around me. And everything's come into question. And I can only explain my current existence because of God now. And I've experienced a lot of magic and supernatural stuff in my life. I'm convinced I'm sold. You don't need to sell me. This is why I'm trying to sell people on God. Which sounds weird. I'm not actually selling anything. But what I'm saying is that it would be wrong for me to experience something so high and amazing and then not to share that with people. Like, you have to experience it. Because no mortal on this earth is going to give you what you need other than God. I promise you that right now. Not me, not anybody. And where you should learn to look for information is inside of yourself, through God. And there you can explore and discover. And there you'll find your answers and find what you're looking for and find what you may have felt you've been looking for a long time. There we can find peace, a promise of eternity. You know what, this world has very little promises. I mean, many promises and very little of them kept. But what we also hardly have are amazing promises that give us hope. And I think what the world needs now, someone said it in Patreon the other day, or in the comment section, that people have lost hope. And hope is so important, as silly as it may sound to some people, because hope is the thing that keeps people alive, keeps people hanging on until they overcome that hurdle. Hope is so important. And I think the promise of eternity and eternal life is the most amount of hope that's ever been given to anyone here on earth. If you can name any more hope than that, please do. I'll wait. But I've never ever seen such an amazing, beautiful promise of hope and such high ideals and realities presented than the promise of eternal life and eternity and protection from God. I mean, have you ever heard of anything that gives that much hope? Divine hope. You get normal hope, and then you get divine hope. When you start to comprehend divinity, which is observing the coincidental nature of reality, you begin to see that your life is actually very divine. It only seems divine to those who pay attention towards it, who pay attention towards these realities and ideas of divinity, of eternity. They come with an energy. You see what I'm saying? They come with a very high energy. And that high energy is very light energy. And it gets rid of all the heaviness we may be feeling. I remember years ago, I used to feel so much stress and anxiety all the time. I wondered if I would ever be able to overcome it. I wondered, would this be my experience of reality going forward? Is there a point where I can evolve beyond this fear and anxiety? And the only way in which it was that I was, and to my surprise, I was able to do it. Right now, I'm at a completely different state of mind compared to the state of mind I was in back then, when I was like, is this it? Is this the pain of existence I'm going to experience? And as I focused on spirituality and God and evolved throughout time, my awareness and consciousness evolved, and so did my experience. So I started to surprise myself with being able to experience a lot more lighter feelings and energies and emotions and experience of my reality. So that in itself is yet another miracle, because back then when I asked that question, I really didn't even imagine being able to feel how I feel now. Granted, I still have a lot more work to do and a lot more heaviness to let go off of myself and a lot more fear to work through. But nonetheless, I've never felt as light as I feel now. So that shows me that there is hope and there's always a reason towards making the right decisions and choices that contribute towards the healthy and successful development of our own character. Because every single choice and every single investment you make within your own self adds up. And it pays off in the way in which you're able to transverse towards higher states of awareness and consciousness, slipping away from these more stressful, heavy states that limit our ability to experience a good quality of existence, a good quality of life. And I believe as our energies begin to change in that direction, so does our life. Our life is almost like a mirror of our energy. And as crazy and chaotic as life may seem, we can find solace and peace within inside of ourselves through such, you have to explore your consciousness, you have to meditate, you have to explore your mind, you have to explore your emotions, explore your feelings, explore your consciousness states, explore how you're able to change those consciousness states as you're able to focus on different things. Try focusing on God and these higher concepts and ideals and see your experience it is that you have. But be a little bit patient and know that every single time you invest in being still and connected, it all pays off. It may not immediately show it to you now, but it will pay off as it accumulates throughout time and starts to develop at an exponential speed. And the speed at which you're able to feel more lightness, more happiness, more joy, love, and peace is a lot more easier than ever before. And your progression and development and evolution seems to become far more quicker until it's eventually in real time as you begin to master your own mind, your own spirit, your own energy, your own connection to yourself and all that is and all that ever will be, your own connection to God. Without God, would you be I know life can be a bit tough and we're throwing some curveballs, but I can't help but be grateful for everything I have, because whatever little I may have, everything I have, which is a lot, when you look at it, at the fact that God gave it to me. I have family, I have a life, a body, a mind, a soul. I have a lot. We all do. And we should prioritize and place an importance over that, over what we have, which is our existence. And then maybe we can begin to emerge from whatever energies that may weigh us down and break free into these new, more positive and happier energies that are awaiting us and awaiting our experience within this reality. There's many questions, but you're the one who's going to find all the answers. And I'm just saying to you, I just hope that the one door that I just hope that the one door you don't knock on, I hope not. Wait, I just hope that the one door you make sure to knock on is God's door. Because if you go your whole life looking for answers and you never knock on God's door, you're never going to find out. There's nothing I can say to convince you. I can just say that you have this vehicle, this being, and it, for all we know, it does a lot more than what we're aware of. And the way in which we can look at what it does is through our emotions and our consciousness and our energies, what I've been talking about this whole video. And through that, we can begin to explore God in our existence. And it works. Love to see you, Jesse. So happy to see you. Oh, Paige, it's very good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate that. And I hope these words can help bring some relief to whoever may listen. Because all I've ever sought after in my life is relief, peace. Really, if I really break it down, I just wanted peace. I just wanted to feel as though everything's okay. And then I don't have anything to worry about. I think that's what we all secretly wish to feel. They do. I'm very grateful. Amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so sorry I haven't streamed in a while. It's just, as I say, sometimes I have to really take time to think about what I'm going to speak about, or at least get in the right energy. And with the times we're going through right now, we go through certain energies, you know, down, up, down. But it's already dependent upon what we're feeding into our mind, our body, and our spirit, and what we're focusing on. So I think it's very good to have a conversation like this, to look at our own consciousness and our own awareness, our own memories and our own energies in a far more deeper, holistic and coincidental perspective. And I'm just happy that all those times I chose to follow God and make the changes necessary to become a better person, I'm grateful that that all pays off.